Schedule 1. Now I'm here to sell drugs, lots of them, so let's get straight to business, creating an organization and hitting the road. Now, before day 1, let me explain how I got here. I woke up in my RV like any other day. I got straight to work, trimming, bagging my product. According to Unc out here, business was booming. So I headed into town to check on my boys, and well, after a successful day of work, I made it back to the RV, went to sleep, dreaming of profits. When all of a sudden, I woke up to the boys in blue. I decided it was every man for themselves, and I left, which brings us here all alone to a brand new city. Day 1. Now, first things first, I needed a new identity, one that would make me look as innocent as possible. And I landed upon this young fella here, based off of Mob Psycho. It's pretty much a 1-to-1. Anyways, I decided to park my RV in the woods where nobody would find it, and I hit the town. I talked with Unc on the nearest payphone, and then... Okay, so someone found the RV. From the looks of it, there seems to be a rival drug gang around town, which I'm sure will be a very important plot point going forward. Needing a new place to stay, I spoke to Donna about getting a motel room, which had everything a man could want, from a TV gaming setup, floor lamp, and who could forget Richard Nixon. So yeah, we were pretty set. I then headed down to the local hardware store where I spoke to Dan. I explained how we were the new drug dealer in town, and he was nice enough to set us up with some of the basics. We cleaned up some trash outside our new room to make a good impression on our neighbors, and ended the day putting together our very own first grow tent. And the first thing we did the morning of day 2 was pick up some seeds to put in it. The strand of plant we're working with here is called OG Kush, and it wasn't long before we were harvesting and placing it on the market. So here's some business 101 for you. Market price says $38. We list it for $39 to make them think it's premium. Now, watch this. Sam Thompson texts me saying he'll take it for $35. He's trying to get a good deal. I get it, but that's when I hit him with a counter offer. $38. Sold. Hook, line, and sinker. That's how it's done, I'm telling ya. So with my genius negotiating and the occasional threats, I began building a pretty loyal base of customers. This continued through day 3 as I gained them left and right. Everyone was loving me, except for this guy, but he was dealt with, so I'm not really worried about him. Day 4 was all about improvements. I bought better soil. I now have 2 grow tents. I'm packing into jars instead of bags. And I bought a bigger room from Miss Mink, which, other than lacking a Richard Nixon Funko Pop, was a very welcome improvement. I said my goodbyes the next day and moved everything over. And on the morning of day 6, during one of my normal meetups, Ludwig introduced me to a guy named Benji, who will become my first employee. For a small cut in fee, he'll deal whatever drugs I give him. I excitedly went back home and got to business, growing as much plant as possible. This was a big step forward, and game recognizes game, as I'm now way beyond a street rat and instead a certified hoodlum, with a new area unlocked as well to wheel and deal in. So I loaded Benji up with some of the OG, I nearly got arrested later that night, and I spent a whole day mixing together my weed with some random gas station pills. I read online that makes you cool. I also stumbled across a crime scene that was suspiciously close to where I hid that one guy's body. They might be onto me. However, with this Ultra Slime hitting the market soon, there's really no stopping me. Unc was pretty proud of my progress so far, and I celebrated by buying a skateboard and testing it out by, well, running from the cops. I spent the majority of day 10 meeting new people, making new customers, and continuously running into law enforcement, to the point where I became wanted. Although I was able to hide behind this old, rundown, disgusting house long enough that they forgot about me. Thankfully, I was able to relieve some stress at the casino later that night, and all for the small price of everything I owned, and my spleen. It was great. I'm growing 2 new strands of weed now, sour diesel and green crack, which is going pretty well. I also made a new friend who sells me pseudo. Now this, well, I have no clue what this does, but it seems pretty good. And on day 12, I was invited to the warehouse. Now the warehouse is the criminal centerpiece of the whole town. This is where all the big time dealers go, and I was turned down right away. Who needs them? My boy Albert, who sells me all my weed seeds, has finally agreed to meet up in person, which means I can buy way more than usual, and thus grow my business that much faster. Plus, now that I have the Granddaddy Purple in the rotation, this town is going to need me. Oh, what's that? Turns out the boss man has heard of me? Yeah, I figured, that's what I was trying to tell you. I knew they'd come around to their senses, but once in the warehouse, there were 3 people I had to talk to. We have Stan, the weapon man, Manny, who can provide me with workers, and Oscar, who thinks I smell nice. I like Oscar. Now officially in the big leagues, I spent the next day in Ray's real estate, where I purchased a bungalow, my brand new, beautiful home. I couldn't believe it. The living room, just look at all that space for pot. Oh, the bedroom, think of the drugs that could fit. The kitchen, oh, the kitchen. I have a backyard. I actually don't think I can put anything in the backyard, but just dream with me, won't you? I had to move in right away. I spent day 16 finishing my new setup and organizing all my goods. I have a new and improved packing station, which is a complete game changer, along with automated water and soil machines. Day 17. Meth. Oh, and I bought a new skateboard too, but mostly meth. And it wasn't long before we had our very first taker. This was a good sign. And I started dealing with Molly as well. Not the drug, although I would if I could, but the girl. She's here to help Benji and I spread a drug-crippling addiction throughout the town. Getting pretty low on cash, I spent my last $500 at the casino like any responsible person would. I won $2,000 based off of pure skill and went straight to Manny to hire a cleaner for the bungalow. Her name is Kathleen. She's very judgy, but she gets the job done, so I'm not complaining. The next day was pretty uneventful, just hanging out by the water. But I did discover that this new strand of weed I have makes people turn, how do I say this, a different shade? Yeah. On day 21, I deposited all my cash into my bank account, and then proceeded to blow it all on a laundromat, where, and you're not going to believe this, I launder money. The next day I accidentally gave this Keith guy meth instead of weed, a simple mix-up really, but he took it way too personally. I also really amped up my weed production, improving from tents to fancy purple lights and pots. Oh, and to help me out with all these, I hired a bald man. He was great for all of 3 seconds before his fat body started blocking me from entering my own home. But in other news, I bought a new mixing station and was putting it to good work, creating both new weed strains and meth variants. Wanting to share these new creations of mine with the people, I went back to getting new customers such as Eugene, what a great guy, and Philip. Alright, I lied, I hate Philip. Obviously, Jeff was all for it. We're big fans of Jeff around here. Philip, though, more like fill him up full of bullet shells, am I right? Also, welcome to the team our 2 new employees, Jeffrey the chemist and Jacob, the handler/packer. Oh, and Philip is finally on board too. It turns out he was just having a really tough couple of days back at home. I feel bad. I should have asked him how things were going before treating him like a pile of insufferable trash. My clientele was really starting to grow at this point, which meant it was time for a new distributor, Brad. It also meant it was time to upgrade my grow lights. In other words, everything was going great. My only gripe was that my chemist refused to use the meth ovens. I have no idea why, but all that meant is that I had to continue doing it all on my own. On the bright side though, both Northtown and Westville have reached an addiction level of 100%. Perfect. Downtown still had some work to be done, but that's okay. I upgraded my clothing to appear a tad bit classier and purchased the local post office to get more cash flowing into my bank. I got tased the next day while innocently standing in my own backyard and spent day 32 cooking more meth all on my own. And finally, I confronted Jeffrey about it, but he just played dumb. Stinking Jeffrey, man. I took out my anger while doing his job for him. Oh, and now let's play a game called Find the Imposter. Who could it? Oh, what, you see him too? Yeah, not just me? Yeah, why is this psycho at my house? On day 34, I bought a new skateboard, which is actually pretty sick and a huge improvement over the one before. And I also decided that since I only have one female worker, she may not be that comfortable sleeping in the same room as everyone else. So I gave her my old room above the Chinese restaurant. And you know what? I think I deserve Boss of the Year for that. With her out of the house, the boys and I decided we should move into a bigger, much cooler place, the barn. This property is amazing. There is so much space for activities and, well, mostly drugs. It took a while to set up shop and get things situated. I bought all new supplies, hired new workers, and stocked the place the best I could so we could start off running. After paying my workers on day 39, I witnessed a miracle the next morning. The chemists were doing their job. I had tears in my eyes. I was so happy. But I couldn't help but wonder why. Why here? Why now? Was it because there was more space to roam? I figured maybe it had something to do with the pathing of the characters, but no, it was my fault completely. Yeah, I just never assigned the oven to anyone, so sorry, Jeffrey, that I fired you, complained about you, and killed your kids. More meth meant more business, and I'm happy to announce that downtown has reached 99% addiction. Thank you. Yeah, it's no big deal. Wow. Fans, am I right? 100% is the goal though, and some higher quality pseudo along with bricks of weed should help get us there. On day 44, I had my first body search, but I was able to hide what drugs I had on me, thankfully. Oh, and this here is Jessie. She is my best customer, so I figured I'd shout her out. And while we're at it, this is Genghis Barn. I just find that funny. On day 46, I picked up my first coca seeds, which should let me plant some cocaine trees and then mix their leaves in a cauldron to make beautiful snow. But before I get to that, I hired a new distributor and visited Highland Auto, where I purchased a Viper. Now, isn't she beautiful? The car kinda sucks, so I still skate everywhere. But check this out, our very own cocaine tree. All we do now is mix the leaves with some gasoline, cook up the crystals, and then make sure our chemists aren't doing anything funny with it, and bam, cocaine. This stuff slaps. The issue though is that I don't have enough space to start up a new operation, which is exactly why I bought this Doc's warehouse, whose sole purpose will be cocaine. On day 53, I packed everything coke related into my trunk and transported it over to my new warehouse, where I have a bunch of workers ready to start. This is the one time the car actually comes in handy, because carrying all of these leaves over by hand would be pretty annoying. So for that, I give the Viper a 10. The warehouse was quickly coming along. I raided my old bungalow for all the pots and lights and set up my new growing station towards the back as my workers creepily watched from the dark outdoors. I didn't like that. I was still checking in on the small coke setup back at the barn, but my new one was slowly starting to gain some speed. I did take a break on day 58 to investigate a reckless driving incident. You just hate to see it. But I was back to business the next few days, expanding and helping out whenever I could. On day 61, everyone apparently decided they wanted to buy drugs from behind the bait and tackle shop. And while running from the cops later, I stumbled into what I think is a cult, but you didn't hear it from me. I spent the next day restocking the barn. I bought a gun, don't worry about it. I donated some cash to the local church. Oh, and someone ordered a van full of horse semen? Like, who did that? Come on, guys, I guess I'll take it. I ended up buying a car wash for even more money laundering, and because my Viper has a random blood stain on it, I caught a chemist sleeping on the job, and I was finalizing my coke warehouse, as I think it's about done. Day 69. Nice. On day 70, I spoke with this guy who has a very long face, and on day 71, I took my Viper into the shop to get it colored red, because I couldn't wash out the blood, so it would match my barn. On day 72, two dreams were born. One was to create the ultimate drug, mixing coke with every gas station item I could find, and two was to own taco ticklers. This pothead tried to stop me from achieving these dreams, but it was inevitable. Taco ticklers was mine. And with Kyle by my side, there was nothing anyone could do, as I had assembled everything I needed to begin forming my masterpiece. Cocaine, mixed with 1 can of cuke, 1 banana, 1 donut, a mega bean, chili pepper energy drink, motor oil, mouthwash, white pills, blue pills, flu medicine, and Strawberry Monkey was born. I was hoping for a much cooler name, but Strawberry Monkey, that's what we got, so. I also tried mixing it with more things, but it just kept coming back to the monkey. Before dropping this monstrosity onto the city, I figured I'd warn the police of what I've created, but they didn't believe me. I contained the monkey the best I could and found our first culprit. And, oh man, it was way worse than I'd ever imagined. It turned him into a redhead. I think word of my ginger virus drug started to spread because customers were refusing to deal with me, and the police were searching me at every stop. Even my own chemists refused to cook more in the cauldrons, and this time it wasn't because I forgot to assign it to them. They were just straight up denying work. The damage this monkey drug has caused was really beginning to weigh on my mind. So I spent a day playing games to clear my head, and that's when it hit me. What if I created a cure, a drug that would fix being a redhead? And so, I'm proud to say, after lots of hard work, I've done it. Thank you. Yeah, that's just the same recording from earlier, isn't it? Well, I appreciate it. Exhausted of both ruining and saving this town from a catastrophe, I went back to the basics on day 82, getting new customers, like Hank. Okay, maybe not Hank yet, but I'm sure he'll come around. On day 83, I pondered how this wheelchair got on the roof, and on day 84, I realized Westville had an addiction problem. Why are they no longer 100%? What the heck's going on over there? Maybe Hank can help get those numbers back up, huh? Okay, no, guess not. That's alright, Hank. Take your time. On day 85, I started picking up trash outside my warehouse. Who even puts all this stuff here? It's disgusting, and frankly, it's bad for business. Now that's much better. I continued getting new customers, such as Carl and Hank. What do we... No? Not what you like? Alright, well, I would say that's understandable, but everyone else seems to dig it. So, you gotta figure it out, bud. Later that night, my gun slipped and I shot a cop. I was arrested, but since it was just, a slip of the finger, they let me keep my gun. On day 87, this lady named Karen wanted to meet me outside my old RV, which brought up some bad memories. And on top of that, she denied me the drugs she asked for. Oh man, and as if today couldn't get worse, I think Hank is buying drugs from somewhere else because he was looking a little sus when I visited. The next day, I took some time off to visit this rich guy's house and swim around in their pool. And on day 89, stinking Karen wanted to meet up again. Oh, and you're not gonna believe this. She said, no thanks. I wasn't having it. And I shouldn't even have to say this, but Hank still wasn't pleased with what I was giving him. Even after a day of crafting something brand new, he said no. He's starting to get on my nerves, man. And I'll admit, day 92, it got a bit out of hand, but at least day 93 had a relaxing sunset. I needed a mental reset, so I bought a new car and took it for a spin. Did some casual texting and driving. I tried visiting my old bungalow, but the police weren't letting me through, and just overall had a relaxing day behind the wheel. Day 95, I tried to end it all. Day 96, and look who's back from the dead. Oh, and it turns out she learned her lesson. How nice. Most of today, though, was spent being angry I couldn't buy this mansion on the hill, so I tried to break in. However, the car was too short. My Viper, on the other hand, though, was perfect. I peeped through the windows at what should be mine, and I tried to shove the car in between the gates, but it didn't quite work. I started to lose my patience with the security checkpoints the next day, and ended up clearing them all out myself and dumping their bodies in various locations, so I could freely pass through without anyone bothering me. And on day 98, I decided it was time for a makeover. That innocent mob psycho look I was going for is no longer necessary. I was entering a new era. I also got this egg guy tattooed on me because I'm pretty sick with it. Day 99. Today was a big day. First things first, I was running out of time. I was out of time, so I went to try convincing Hank once more. Alrighty, well that wasn't so bad after... Oh, hold on, what the... Okay, while we're at it, I heard there's someone over here named Walter. We can't have that. We can't have witnesses either. And who could forget Dan? Dan is the man. I love that guy, I do. I tried pickpocketing this cop's gun, but grew quite impatient. I was sick and tired of Ray not selling me that mansion. And I'm sorry, Kyle, but Employee of the Month? Really? You? I was and always have been the best Taco Tickler's employee. Yeah, that felt good. That felt right. I also killed this guy for fun. Really no reason for that one. And then I just did donuts through the police station, cause I can. And with that, I decided to call it a night. Day 100. 100 days of selling drugs. Fellas, we made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I know I did. I had a ton of fun playing this game, making this video, and, well, you know what to do from here. Blah, blah, blah. Point is, I hope to see you again. So, see ya.